welcome to the Python programming tutorial, and in this video we are going to see what exactly a low level language is, what exactly high level language is, what Python is, and there are certain features of Python that we are going to see, and at the end we are going to compare two codes. Okay, so let's start with our programming language. So what exactly a programming language is? So programming languages are used to interact with your computers. Okay, so it can be used to interact with operating systems too. So in order to communicate with computer, you have two ways. You can either use high level language or you can use low level language. Okay, so computer only understand binary language, which is nothing but your zeros and ones. Okay, so your programming languages are categorized into two things. Very first is a low level language, and second one is your high level programming language. Now let's quickly see what exactly a low level language is. So a low level language are basically easy for computers. Okay, why? Because they are written in computer understandable languages, which are nothing but your machine language, and second one is your assembly languages. So your low level languages, the examples of low level programming languages are machine languages, which are written in zeros and ones, and assembly languages, which are written in a commands. So these two languages are easy for computers, but it is not easy for a programmer to write a program using this particular programming languages. Why? Because say suppose if we take an example of assembly languages, your assembly language is made up of commands. Like for example, if you want to perform addition, you have to write command for it. If you want to move your data, if you want to store your data, then you have to write certain commands. So for everything you have to write a command, and we are a human beings, and it is very difficult for a human beings to keep remembering all those commands. Okay, so it is very difficult to write our program using low level languages. Okay, and at the other hand, you have high level programming languages, which are basically written in English like sentences, and that's why they are easy for the programmers. Okay, so they are very easy to read, very easy to write. Programs can be easily maintained. Why? Because they are written in human understandable language. Now human understandable language is nothing but your English like sentences. So high level languages are written in English like sentences, whereas low level languages are written in computer understandable language. So there is one big problem with high level programming language that we are going to discuss now. For example, this is your computer. Okay, this particular thing is your computer, and there is my high level program. Okay, say suppose this is my high level program. Now what I have to do is I have to communicate, I have to interact with this particular computer, okay, using this high level program. Okay, so HP is nothing but high level program. So your computer understands only low level language, or you can say binary language, which is nothing but your zero and ones. Okay, उसको बस binary languages समझ में आती है. एंड हम लोगों ने जो प्रोग्राम लिखा है, हम लोगों का प्रोग्राम है किसमें? तो हम लोगों का प्रोग्राम है हाई लेवल प्रोग्रामिंग लैंग्वेज में, विच इज नथिंग बट योर इंग्लिश लाइक सेंटेंस. So using this program you cannot communicate with computer, because computer won't be able to understand your language. Okay, so what is the problem here is that your computer will not be able to interact with your program, or your program will not be able to interact with your computer. So the thing is that there must be someone जो क्या करेगा, हाई लेवल लैंग्वेज को कन्वर्ट करेगा इनटू लो लेवल लैंग्वेज में, सो दैट नाउ आई कैन कम्युनिकेट विथ होम, नाउ आई कैन कम्युनिकेट विथ computer. So in order to translate your high level program into computer understandable language, you have two things, and very first is that your compiler, and second one is your interpreter. So using these two technologies you can convert your program into machine understandable language. So there are various programs, or there are various programming languages which are based on compiler. That means it uses compiler to translate your program. For example, your C programming language, C++ programming language is a compiler language. That means it uses compiler to translate your program into what? Into machine understandable language. But at the other hand, Python जो है, पाइथन किसको यूज करता है? पाइथन यूज करता है इंटरप्रेटर को. ओके, सो पाइथन यूजेस इंटरप्रेटर टू ट्रांसलेट योर प्रोग्राम इनटू machine understandable language. Now what do you mean by Python? What exactly a Python is? So Python is a high level programming language. It is an interpreted programming language, very interactive, and it is based on object oriented technologies. Now what exactly high level programming language is? That means your Python is easy for a programmers. They are written in English like sentences. Now what do you mean by interpreted? Interpreted का मतलब है ये किसको यूज करता है? Python किसको यूज करता है? Python यूज करता है interpreter को. So when I say a Python is an interpreted language, that means it uses interpreter to translate your program into machine understandable language. It is very interactive. That means we can perform various interactions, like there are certain things like GUI जो हम लोग डेवलप कर सकते हैं so that we can interact with our user and so on. Okay, there is one more thing called as object oriented language. Now what exactly a object oriented programming language is? Nothing but Python supports all the object oriented terminologies such as classes and objects, इनहेरिटेंस एंड सो ऑन. ओके, सो ये सारी चीज़ें हम लोग देखने ही वाले. नो डाउट हम लोग ऑब्जेक्ट ओरिएंटेड के टर्मिनोलॉजीज देखने ही वाले. नाउ पाइथन इज बेसिकली डेवलप्ड बाय वैन रूसम एंड इन द ईयर ऑफ 1991. okay, so he is the founder of Python programming language. ओके, सो इट इज़ अ हाई लेवल प्रोग्रामिंग लैंग्वेज. अभी अभी मुझे पता चला है, ये भी मुझे मालूम है कि ये इंटरप्रेटर को यूज़ करती है, इसीलिए तो उसको क्या बोलते हैं? इंटरप्रेटर बोलते हैं. इट इज़ ईजी फॉर अ कंप्यूटर, it is easy for a programmer, sorry. Okay, that means it is very user friendly. Okay, now let's see the features of Python. बहुत सारे features हम लोगों ने already देख लिए. एक पहला फीचर है, इट इज़ फ्री एंड ओपन सोर्स. नाउ व्हाट डू यू मीन बाय फ्री एंड ओपन सोर्स? इज नथिंग बट you can freely download it from its official website. It is free to download, इसको कोई charges नहीं लगते. What do you mean by open source? Open source is nothing but इसका जो source code है, it is available for everyone. Now it is object oriented programming language, which is nothing but it supports all the object oriented terminologies. It is a high level programming language. That means it will be easy for a programmers to write Python programs. It is interpreted. That means it uses interpreter to translation. Then it provides vast standard libraries. Now what do you mean by standard libraries? See, you can do various things using Python. You can develop a game, you can develop a GUI application, you can develop websites, and you can do so many things using Python. And in order to do those things, you have set of libraries. So using those libraries you can perform various tasks. So अगर आपको कोई भी ऐसी अलग सी चीज़ें करनी है, सो पाइथन ने बहुत सारे लाइब्रेरीज को प्रोवाइड किया है, यूजिंग विच यू कैन डू सो मेनी थिंग्स. ओके, सो इट इज़ पोर्टेबल. नाउ व्हाट एग्जैक्टली अ पोर्टेबिलिटी मीन्स? पोर्टेबल लैंग्वेज का ये मतलब रहता है, पोर्टेबल लैंग्वेज मतलब अगर मैंने एक मशीन पे कोई प्रोग्राम लिखा, से सपोज पाइथन प्रोग्राम मैंने लिखा है ये मशीन पे, तो जो कंप्यूटर्स पाइथन को सपोर्ट करते हैं वो सारे कंप्यूटर्स के ऊपर मैं मेरा प्रोग्राम रन कर सकता हूँ. दैट मीन्स इट इज़ पोर्टेबल. अगर मैंने एक जगह पे प्रोग्राम लिखा है तो मैं सेम प्रोग्राम लेके दूसरे मशीन के ऊपर भी उसको रन कर सकता हूँ. दिस इज नोन एज portability. Now there is one more feature of Python is nothing but database support. So Python provides various commands using which you can communicate with your database. That means you can store your data into database, you can retrieve your data from a database. Okay, it also supports GUI programming. Using Python you can create a GUI program. There is one library that we are going to see which is nothing but tkinter. Okay, हम लोग आगे जाके बहुत end पे हम लोग ये सारी चीज़ें देखने वाले हैं. Okay, at the end it is easy for a programmer to learn Python, read Python programs, and write Python programs. Now let's see the code comparison between these two programming languages. On the left hand side you have Python program, and at the right hand side you have C program. So if you want to print just hello programmers, your C program will take around 4 to 5 lines. Okay, so it will take roughly around 4 to 5 lines, but at the other hand, as you can see, Python takes only one line to print hello programmers. So as you can see, it is very easy for a programmer to write Python program. Now let's see how to download and install a Python. So from an official website, which is nothing but www.python.org, using this particular website you can download Python software. Okay, so if you are using Windows operating system, then you can just navigate to the downloads for a Windows section. Just select your desired version of Python. Right now I'm using Python 3.6. okay, so you can just select whatever the version you want, and just download this particular installer. If you have a Windows operating system, then based on your processor you can download this executable installer, and you just have to इंस्टॉल इट. सो ये पर्टिकुलर वीडियो में हम लोगों ने सारा यही बात किया कि पाइथन एग्जैक्टली क्या है, लो लेवल लैंग्वेज, हाई लेवल लैंग्वेज होते क्या है, एंड फीचर्स हम लोगों ने देखे, एंड एट द एंड वी कंपेयर पाइथन विथ योर सी प्रोग्राम. नाउ नेक्स्ट वीडियो में हम लोग बात करेंगे अबाउट वेरिएबल्स इन पाइथन.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe our channel and share with your friends.